Today on the Q Agenda, a study proves that adopting a dog improves LGBTQ plus couples relationships. Are pets the new couples therapy?
She serves as the queen of the royal court, but Queen Victoria stops by to chat about raising the profile of trans and gender nonconforming individuals.
And Latin musical sensation Georgel is here. All that and more today on
The Q Agenda.
In news that surprises absolutely no one, it turns out that dogs help LGBTQ plus relationships improve. Now, I know it's disappointing news for the cat lesbian lovers out there. Cat lesbian joke here. But today on our Lively Gay Buzz Talk, we're discussing, can a dog really save a relationship?
Yep, apparently. It was an article on a study on rover.com that apparently LGBTQ couples that have dogs, somehow they make their relationships work. So there you go. Are these the new therapists?
But are you using the dog as an excuse to avoid why your relationship isn't working?
See, that's deep, but what the study says is that actually more people, they spend more time together because of the dog.
Right.
They have to walk the dog, cuddle with the dog, tell the dog it's good.
I get that, but my thing is that if we can't hang out together without the dog, I don't want the damn dog and I don't want you.
See, you're jealous. You're the jealous type. That means, okay, but
I'm not
Don't
jealous.
be hating. Don't be hating.
I think what we should probably out Juliana as, I'm sorry, we're going to need to out Juliana here. She is not a dog lover. I know.
Which is
Listen.
insane.
I know.
It's insane.
Listen, I love dogs.
But how does that affect? Okay.
But if you tell me we can't go to Paris because we can't find someone to watch Skippy,
I'm
Both of
sorry,
y'all
but
are
if he
staying
can
home.
take you to Paris, but he can't afford a dog sitter, you're hanging out with the wrong person.
That's a good point.
listen, you're both out and I'm going to Paris by myself.
No, listen, I'm really actually curious. Would you not date someone who's obsessed with their dog?
I wouldn't not date them because
Okay.
they're obsessed with their dog.
Have
But
you-
if you love your dog more than me, then absolutely not.
Have you
Like,
ever pretended to not mind someone's affection for their dog? Because I know this is off topic now, but I think it's so fascinating. Have you ever been like, oh, cute dog, to somebody just to
totally.
sort of like...
Runyon Canyon, Saturday mornings?
Of course. I mean, you know
You
what's
think
my,
it was a Petco commercial.
my favorite line
You're
for
the star of a Petco commercial.
my favorite line for Renyan is like, oh, what a cute animal, and the dog's cute too. Ba-ba-da-ba-da-ba-pum.
That was good. I love that. And listen, seriously though, like I love my dog more than anything. That's why we could never be truly together forever. I have two Gator and Graham. They're miniature dachshunds, and they sleep in between my girlfriend and I. They will like push with their little legs out, and she thankfully is cool with it.
Now,
So you have
see,
to
my
find
husband-
another dog
My
lover.
husband has a problem with it because we have two Yorkies and they sleep in between us. And my husband at some points now saying like, hey, come on, really? Like the dogs are literally, like they're pushing me out of the bed. And I'm like,
It's like
whoa,
their
it's a
bed.
little weird. Yeah, but my dogs are really like, they're like our kids. And
Yeah.
when we've gone through rough patches and everything, like the first argument is like, so who's gonna keep the dogs? And I'm like, I'm keeping the dogs. And I'm, no, I'm keeping the dogs. They're like our babies.
That is what the study said too, that gay couples are 21% more likely to have a pup-nup in place, meaning if we break up, who gets what dog, versus heterosexual couples that I guess are coming in at like 12%.
Yeah.
Last time I checked.
The numbers were shocking.
Keep the dog.
She's like, we're great.
I'm just saying,
bad.
I'm keeping my dog, whatever happens. So you see me, Danny, if you're listening, I'm keeping my dogs. They become like,
No,
like
I
your
get it. I
kids.
love it. And I do believe that, having an animal or anything you have to take care of, obviously that teaches you more about the person you're with and how they deal with responsibility and all
Totally.
that and patience. I understand it.
I feel
but-
like the straights, I'm gonna call them that, I feel like the straights use pets like a dog as practice for the real child that's gonna come later. And I think as gays, we need to put out a PSA. That dog is not a practice, is not for your practice for your child. We notice when all of a sudden you have a baby and your Instagram feed becomes nothing but, your Instagram feed used to be all about your dog, but now it's all about the baby. We notice.
Well,
So-
but you see how many guys and girls, and then, in the community, they are all about their dogs on Instagram. It's insane. And then what about the hot guys with shirtless with the dog's pictures?
Well, that I don't mind.
That's a diet.
That's how we get
See
dog
what's a
lovers,
hot
man.
guy, but not the dog. It comes with a package, baby.
I'm not saying I won't take the dog. I'll take the dog.
But it's kind of weird too. Like, have you ever had this? Maybe you haven't, Juliana, but like your dog can read people's character.
Oh, totally.
So in a way, it's kind of cool because I've had definitely girlfriends I had no business being with, and that my dog never liked them.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, okay, why didn't I listen to the instinct of my
you don't
animals.
pass the Koji and Lola test, you're out the door. Meaning friendships, like business things, and because somehow they say that dogs can tell when people are not, like they're not good people.
And you know what? I feel like some people would think you sound crazy right now. I don't know if Juliana's one of those people.
I'm sure
but
there's a line.
there's people who believe in like energy and like crystals and like this emits like some kind of mysterious power. Like we can believe dogs can read energy, right?
Oh,
I'm sure they can.
absolutely.
You're like-
Absolutely, they can. Absolutely. I'm sorry. I mean, well, we could talk about this subject for hours and keep on going with this conversation, but we need to know. It's like, to me, my Koji and my Lola, they're everything. So you know what? Like, don't mess with them. But when we come back, Queen Victoria is here to chat with us. So don't go anywhere. It's a great conversation.
Welcome back. Our next guest is the National Chair of Flux, a national network dedicated to raising the profile of trans and gender nonconforming individuals through innovative advocacy. Please welcome to the show Queen Victoria.
Woo! Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Your
Yes.
royal presence. I
my
love
gosh.
it. Sorry, I just want to start off really
Yeah.
quick. We're very honored that you're here as a trans sister. I'm beyond excited that you're here. And because I've never really gotten to know you personally, but we've seen each other at many events, can you share with us a bit about your journey in life to where you are now, the throne that is your life as Queen Victoria?
Well, thank you very much. Likewise, it's an honor for me to be able to see a reflection of myself, and I'm super happy to see that the Q agenda is being not only diverse but inclusive, which is beyond equity. It's really giving a voice. So thank you for being that voice for us. So I want to start off with that. My past is I'm born in the hood. I'm born and raised in the hood in Boyle Heights, and I still live in Boyle Heights. My upbringing was actually very positive. You're hearing on TV right now a lot about Dwayne Wade and his support of his daughter, Saya. And my message around that has been recently that, you know, black men and men that are people of color, Latino men, love their kids. It's society that creates the stigma. And coming from Boyle Heights and being loved by my mother and my father, who are of Mexican descent, contributed to me being able to go beyond survive to thrive, which is something that a lot of my trans brothers and sisters and siblings do not have.
Right.
So having that was the seed that grew into who I am now, and I wouldn't be who I am today without my parents, without my community in Boyle Heights, and without the trans community who has taught me and supported me and whose shoulders I stand on today. That's who I am in a nutshell, and I come from a long line of activists. My parents were activists too, Chicano activists who cared about our community. I live in Wyvenwood Garden Apartments, which has been threatened to be demolished for a long time. My parents were involved in saving it. It has one of the largest areas of green space in LA, rent controlled. So it's a place where especially Latinx and Latino community can thrive. And that's what pumps through my veins is the legacy of fighting for the little person, or the little guy, or I say the little person. I like to be, gender inclusive. But in that sense, it's part of just being what being an Ortega is. So I love the fact that I have that legacy, and that my community has that legacy.
It's just so much intersectionality, and what a great example of it, that all of your identities are center stage. It's not just thinking about one at a time, but how one of our identities affects the other. Is there any advice that you have, because we have a captive audience at this moment. Is there any advice, because you said not survive, not just survive, but thrive.
Correct.
Do you have any advice to the people out there whose kids have just told them, and maybe it culturally contradicts and they don't understand intersectionality? What did your parents do so great?
So I think that one of the things that my parents did was go with their gut feeling of loving me unconditionally. Did people criticize them? Did people say, like, what did you do wrong? Did your child get abused? They rejected that narrative, right? I think that changing the narrative means interrupting that story and saying, no, I love my kid unconditionally.
Same kid as yesterday as they were today.
Correct.
Yes.
I think that's the main number one. I'm actually working on a book with my father, who's now 80 years old, around parenting from the perspective of a trans Latino parent, and for me, being a child and having my parents transition along with me, and the patience and the conversations that it takes. So I recommend that you continue to love your kids unconditionally. If you do just that, that's the baseline that will set them up to give them any resiliency they need to, deal with their first breakup.
Yeah.
To be able to just go forward and deal with whatever crap people might tell them.
Mm-hmm. And I think people forget that when changes happen and you come out and you transition, your family is part of that, and they have to go through that journey with you.
Correct.
It's interesting to see that you got such a positive reaction from your loved ones, which is so rare in the Latino community.
And how old were you when you came out? Or when
So
you came out to your parents?
I came out at 12, and then I started transition around 15 and a half, 16.
And that at that time, I want to ask a follow-up question to that, because there's such controversy around how allowing younger people to transition, which I think we have a lot to say on that. So we have to take a quick break, but we'll be right back.
And we're back with more from Queen Victoria. We're so happy to have you here. There's so much that we want to talk about with you.
Yeah, so we were just before the break talking about how you came out at a young age and how your parents made it possible by allowing you to transition young, and that's such a controversial thing that's happening right now. But I think it makes all the difference.
Most definitely. One of the things that I had access to was Children's Hospital's adolescent medicine program that I actually work on with now as a consultant, that really was focused on providing care and access to care for trans youth. Right now, many people don't know that there's legislation that is blocking or attempting to block access to care for young kids that are trans-identified. Luckily, those bills have died in I believe now it's 3 states that have attempted to do that. To legislate that prohibition of access to hormone replacement therapy. And the reality, it's futile efforts. We're here to stay. We're continuing to gain visibility and power, and we're not going anywhere.
What do you think in these times where there's so many fake news and we don't really know where to direct our attention sometimes? It's the main focus that we should have right now in regards to the community, to the trans community.
Well, I think the main focus, it goes back to what I had mentioned, is diversity, it doesn't always equal inclusion. So we talk about diversifying spaces, and then you kind of have placeholders and tokenized community. Really including people in the conversations allow us to be part of that discussion at the table. This is a great example, right? We're not talking about trans community from an aloof place. You're allowing us to have our own voice, and we're taking the space to have our own voice. When you do that, that's what true inclusion looks like.
Right. So one of the amazing organizations you're part of is Flux. Can you share more information on Flux?
So as was mentioned before, Flux is a division of AIDS Healthcare Foundation that's focused on raising the profile of trans and gender nonconforming community through innovative events and advocacy. And that's exactly what we do. We do upscale events in different major cities throughout the country to show that, one, we can occupy that space, and that we can put together an event that leverages the microphone being controlled by people of trans experience and inviting decision makers, whether it's politicians, whether it's program directors, whether it's a school teacher or school principal, into the space to share humanity. When you connect at a human level, it's what changes people's hearts and minds. I just came back from the 66th convening of the Presidential Advisory Council on HIV, and I walked away with after 2 days with a significantly older gentleman, white, Republican, who we didn't see eye to eye politically, but we connected at a human level, and were able to at least have a discussion. And that's the thing that's not happening in this country. Absolutely. We're not seeing each other as human beings, and we're not connecting, and that's what's going to change.
I think particularly right now with the politics and the times that we are, I find that people are they're attempting to connect. And for somebody like Elizabeth Warren, for example, she read the names of all the victims, that had been murdered, trans, African American. But I see, for example, they go that step and they mention those names, but I don't see them bringing solutions to the problem, to really including the community on how to educate. Is there any candidate that you think is at least getting closer to really catering to the needs?
Well, You know, one of the things that I'm jealous of everyone else is you get to be partial. As queen, I can't be involved politically or make a decision for any particular candidate. What I do say is have the conversations. Have the difficult conversations, even with people you don't agree. Who is representing your interests? And at the end of the day, even political candidates or organizations or TV shows, if we do not include trans people to be part of the solution, we can't get a true solution that's sustainable. I would add to that, value our experience. If you could pick my brain, I should be able to pick your pocket, right?
I love that. That is absolutely fantastic. Yeah,
That's great.
I agree with you 100%. Well, I mean, thank you so much for having this conversation with us. So much needed, and we don't see it anywhere. Absolutely.
We want to thank Queen Victoria for stopping by. For more on Flux, visit transidentity.org, and we will be right back with musician Georgel.
He's dedicated to happiness, loves to sing, and through music fights for equality and the preservation of nature. Please welcome singer Georgel. Welcome. We're so
Hi,
happy to
guys.
have you with us.
Oh my gosh, I'm just so thrilled to be at the actual rainbow right now.
You're at the rainbow.
You guys are like the rainbow of shows.
Well,
so
no, we want to thank you because you are breaking boundaries. You're pushing. I mean, like, it's incredible what you're doing. You know, you were one of the first LGBT, if not the first LGBTQ performer at the Lamas. Billboard honored you also as an LGBTQ performer. You performed at LA Pride last year. What is it like? It's a huge responsibility. How do you feel about this?
It's really exciting. It's really exciting. You know, as many of us, I've always grew up just sort of like trying to find, other people that would represent either music or art, or any other form of, expression, in either media or mass media or just like in just to be able to have a face, that other people can identify and can just say, somebody is living their dream and living their truth and they're doing it openly and proudly. It just makes me feel overjoyed. So it's just a lot of joy. It really is.
And how is it now navigating the music industry as an LGBTQ artist?
Well, especially in the Latino community, there's even more stigma. There's music right now, especially in the music or in the genre that I am, which is, it mixes a little bit of pop with, it has some electronic, some soul, some R&B, like it's kind of a mixture of all that stuff together. I feel like it's a very highly dominated heterosexual world, and where it's very much, I mean, if not completely based on, the guy that it's like, objectifying a woman and, and the whole premise of their story, it's very dedicated to that. So to actually be able to sit down and write stories and put music to them that do not conform with that subject, it brings a whole other world of music that, I mean, not a lot of the people, or not the people, but actually the platforms or the people that are in positions of power to support music had been supporting in the past. So I've been really fortunate to be able to tell these new stories. Every song that I've released, it has a story about freedom, about coming out, about being yourself. It's just sort of kind of like a trademark in what I do. So I feel like little by little, we're kind of like getting places.
Yeah, well, talk to us about your latest single. I almost said special because I'm a comedian and we do comedy specials. Tell us about your latest single and sort of how that theory informed that, and about the music video that I think. Tell us about what's going on.
Of course, yeah. It's called Que no nos importe, which it means we shouldn't care, or like let's just not care. And it's pretty much a story that I wrote about just, I know it's pretty much that phase in my life when I was kind of like not sure about coming out or not sure about being okay, being seen with who I was, but then just taking that leap of faith and saying, let's just not care. Can we just please be ourselves and like be in our love and like screw everybody else, you know what I mean, kind of thing. So it's just a very liberating song. I've had some amazing allies around it. I co-wrote it with Juan Pablo Vega, which is a Grammy-winning and also nominated producer this past year. He's been allied with other LGBT figures such as Esteban and people that are out and proud. He produced it, he co-wrote it with me, and also Catalia is also a big ally for the community and in general, and she was super happy when she heard the song to come collaborate and also write a part on it. So it's kind of like you know, a feature between both of us in the video. And yeah, you know, it has some swag, it has some soul, it has some electronic elements, it has some pop elements. It's a little bit of everything, and not only in like, you know, gender identity and just gender liberation, but also in music. I like to just break the rules and do different things.
And
I mean,
South-
if your music is anything like this outfit, I'm in.
And South by Southwest is coming, correct?
Yes,
So
yes.
there's a huge opportunity.
Yes, South by Southwest is pretty much, I think, if not the largest, one of the largest music festivals. You know, it's like a week where there's like literally thousands of artists from all over the world that get invited. Like, you know, you have to go through a submission process. They only pick up like 5 artists from each country. We're represented in Mexico.
Yay!
You know, and it's gonna be fantastic. I'm pretty sure that I am the only out, you know, LGBT performer from Mexico that has been selected to come and perform. We're gonna be doing the BMI showcase and also the LatiNation showcase for everybody out there in the South by Southwest. Come by and support. We're really to put together an amazing show for you. Yeah, we're so grateful to South by Southwest for putting us on the map, to not just to me, but a whole entire community.
Yes, and we are so grateful for you for coming to our show and helping put us on the map, because we are all in this together, and we love introducing our audience to you. So thank you so much for stopping by. And to learn more about Georgel, visit him on @GeorgelUniverse. And don't forget to visit us at LATV.com. We'll see you next time.